Hi. Hello. Hello, happy reading people. Did you all read? Did you read it? Did you read the book? Bowsy, that's okay. You can be here. You don't have to read it. You can learn the stories. Also, audiobooks count. Audiobooks count. You could get into audiobooks. You could have it on when you're like playing something. And you'd be like, wow, stories about monsters, and you also cannot hear. That's unfortunate. I do have questions, Bowsy. Um, wait, which book? The book that we're doing today with the. Okay, hold on. I'll wait. The horny zombie.
That's like half your book, so who knows?
Yeah, the horny zombies. The fucking zombies, as I called them. That was American Rapture by C something Leeds. CL Leeds? CJ Leeds? I don't know, we'll look it up. Because that's the thing is, I'm supposed to, every Monday, we start the stream with me talking about the books that I read this week. I read 4 books this week. Whoops. And a lot of them were really horny, and I don't know what's happening, because the last one was horny too. That book with the fucking zombies, that was horny, and there's just a lot of horny that was happening this week, and I don't know why. I picked them at random. I was waiting for holds to come out at the library. I just like went to the library, went to horror section, and I went, yeah, this sounds like fun. And then they ended up being horny. I didn't mean for that to happen. It wasn't even like an algorithm chose them for me. I went on to it was fucking Libby.
You're your own algorithm, bitch.
I don't know. So like I don't know if there's time for me to even like talk about the books this week. Let me pull up Storygraph so I can kind of see what they were. I fucked up my browser though, and I forgot about that. So. Oh, thank you for the head pats. I'm rude. The library knows you're horny. I'm not currently. Or when reading a lot of these. Some of them were just like really ugh. One of them was gross and I didn't like it, but I powered through reading it. And it was one of those things where I'm like, maybe I just don't like serial killers. Perhaps I don't like it. Like, I kind of think it's sort of fun, but like, but through the lens of like true crime is fine, or through the lens of people like trying to like find out who the serial killer is. But when it's through the lens of the serial killer, I'm like, holy shit, you were fucked up. Yeah, I know, right? And there's like some sort of, and I don't know. There was one where it was very like obviously inspired from some Dahmer stories, and I'm just like, I'm not having a good time here. I really wish that this would stop. It is gore, and I don't mind gore. I'm fine with gore, but it was just, it's because it's through the lens of the serial killer themselves. And I'm just like, this isn't fun. I don't like you. I wish there was somebody to root for in here. And it's always the victim, but the victim is gonna die and you know it. And I don't like that. There's no one I'm happy for in this entire 400 pages. I don't like it. I didn't have a fun time. That was Exquisite Corpse, which like, okay, should have known. But it was from a prominent trans author. I think they're on the trans list thing. There's a list for trans authors because there's a trans reading month, which I don't remember when that is, but it's like March or February or something like that. It's early on in the year. And I did it last year, so I had a big list, and they were on there, and I was like, I wanted to get it, but it was an older book, and I didn't think I was going to be able to. I do. I care. That's why I do that. I care. I like to read from diverse backgrounds and from my minority authors because I think that it's important. So I care. But yeah, I wanted to read it from them, and I didn't have a good time. But there was definitely some like
You're
interesting parts of it that were like, oh, this is sort of an allegory for some queer stuff, which was fun, and I like going through that, but I didn't have a good time otherwise. And then there was okay, so yeah, I had an interesting week. I had an interesting week. We can like look at them very very briefly. Let me see my thing. Oh yeah, we're fine here. Okay. So here's my Storygraph profile. So this is the last 4 that I read. This was the one with the fucking zombies. American Rapture. Can you see my cursor? No. Why not? Why can't you see my cursor? Can you see my cursor? Am I blind? Possibly. Wait, definitely. Why can't you see my cursor? Okay, that's weird. Hold on. Let me go. Let me go look at that. What am we looking from? Okay, wait. Let me take this one off. Let's add this one on. This one's a little fucky. Why are you fucky? Okay, I don't know what's going on here. Scuffed stream. Oops. Hold on. I fix. Callie fix. Don't worry about it. Callie fix, Callie make okay. Okay, not perfect, but alright. Can you see cursor on this one? No. Why is my cursor not being shown on these things? It's supposed to. It says capture cursor. Okay, we're not going to question it, and we're just going to deal. Where cursor? Who knows? We'll just, So this was the one we stopped off with. This is the one with the fucking zombies. American Rapture by CJ Lead. Ooh, look at me. I was pretty close. And that was horny. We talked about this, though. This is the next one that I went with. The Haunting of Room 904. I love paranormal. Yeah, the cover on that one is super good. I love paranormal horror. So I was really excited for this one, but you know how I hate, I talk about it all the time. I hate when they sort of ham fist the diversity sort of stuff in there, and they like try to put in a lot of different people from, and it just doesn't feel natural, and like it just feels too woke, like it was trying to be woke, you know what I mean? Like it was woke, but in a way that felt forced. And like sometimes it was good, and I read the whole thing, so it wasn't that bad, and there was stuff in it that I did like, but it felt like a white liberal woman who is slightly racist probably wrote this, and I don't think that that's actually the case. But it like had a Native American thing with a background, and it seemed fairly well researched with that though, so that was kind of interesting. And then there was like witch stuff and magic and ghosts, and like that's all fun and stuff like that, but for some reason the formula just didn't work for me. There was a gay guy who was just there and hanging out, but it just didn't feel, I don't know, something about it was just like, this feels like a caricature of people and the characters are super flat. And I think that if they were more well rounded, it probably would have worked a little bit better for me. But it just sort of felt like we needed to have a gay guy, so we made a gay guy. We needed to have people with a background in this culture, so we put them in there. But like nobody felt real. I don't know. I didn't like it. It was not my favorite book, but there were parts of it that I did like. And they start off with like a Dybbuk box too, and I kind of hate that. Just because I think that I don't, I don't like when people use things from Jewish mysticism because I feel like they don't fully understand it. It's the same thing with like the golems. It's like you don't understand how this works, and it's kind of dumb. And like it's interesting to use some of these ideas, but it's like okay, but like they have more meaning than that. I don't know. I don't know. I didn't like it though. So I was like kind of turned off from it from the get go, and then like it kept on going, and then like the evil enemy of the story is like some blogger who is obsessed with who's racist. I'm just like, okay. Like, she's just like super evil, and I'm just like, I didn't, whatever. Okay, so not a great one. We'll add review later. We don't have a lot of time, so I wanna, and we have too many books. Not my favorite book though. But it was okay. It was okay. If I were going to do like a star rating for it, we could probably do like a quick star rating with no thing in it, with no words in there. Maybe like a high two, maybe a 2.75. Because I I didn't like it. And usually with a 3, I had a fun time with it. And there were parts of it that I had a fun time with, but for the most part I was just like, this is boring and bad. And I feel bad because like I'm sure my first novel would be bad too if I ever could finish a fucking book. And then I feel bad again because I can't finish a book and I know how hard that is. And so I feel bad for the author. They tried their best. I just didn't like it. Oh my god, Uriel. Stop it. He's moving my mic around. He keeps standing on the base of the stand for it. Okay, ad review. That's good. We gave it a 2.5. Not my favorite book. I know I've never been this critical of a book before. This is the one that I was talking about that was from it's from the point of view of serial killers for the most part, and like one victim, and it's during the AIDS epidemic, and they're gay. Everybody's gay in it. It was very heavily inspired by Dahmer. There were some things that like I recognized from that case that was happening in the book, and the people were racist, people were misogynist, people were just bad people. And I couldn't find anyone except for the victim who dies horribly at the end. That was the only person who I was rooting for the entire time, and it just wasn't fun. I didn't like it. I had a bad reading day. Also, it was kind of short, so you know. Um, it's one of those things that was like interesting to read, but like through a literary lens, it was interesting to dissect and like get into, but it wasn't enjoyable to read. But I don't think that all books need to be enjoyable. Um, it's an older book too. This is from 1996. I don't love the way how it paints gay people and the gay scene, but it is a gay scene that exists. With a lot of drug use and open sex and stuff like that. But it's like not how all gay people are, and that's what people think all gay people are. And it was from the 90s. Yes, I need to remind myself of that. And I just like, it's fine. It is what it is. Um, this one's more in the three though because I think it has merit, and it didn't annoy me the whole way through. It just disgusted me, which I think is the point. Like, you're not supposed to root for the serial killers, but I I read another serial killer one maybe earlier this month actually. I can't remember, but like not too long ago, and I also didn't have fun with that one. So I don't know. I think we'll just give it a 3. This is going to be a sad week. The next one I read was this one, which I've been wanting to read for a while. Yellowface by R.F. Kuang. I think I pronounced that badly. I've been wanting to read it for a while, and I just never did. And I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about this one. So I grabbed it really quickly. It's super funny actually, but like not in a laugh out loud sort of way. It's about a author who is white, and she went through like an MFA program and everything like that, and she put her first novel out there, and it didn't do great. But she has a friend who was in the same program as her, who she met in college, and like who she is sort of like pseudo close to, but there's like rivalry as well. Um, and the friend is a much more successful author. The friend is Chinese, which is important. She just sold a Netflix deal. They go out to celebrate, and then they end up back at the friend's house. And things are happening, and they are drunk, and they like decide to have basically a pancake eating contest. And the one friend chokes and dies. But while she was there at the friend's house, she was showed the new manuscript of the new book that they were working on, and they work on a typewriter because they're one of those kinds of authors who are also very annoying, and I get it. So she steals her manuscript because nobody else has seen it. And then she works on it and fixes it and changes stuff in it and publishes it under her own name. Problem is that the piece of work is very like it's like rooted in Chinese history. And so like she does have to do the history like research to like get what's going on a little bit better. Um but then like when she goes in to try to publish it, they like want her to appear more Chinese even though she's white, so they like make her go by her middle name, which is Song, which could be a Chinese name. They make her go they take pictures of her after she's had a tan. So then like people kind of think like it's really bad, and she just like, but it's in first person, so she's always just like rationalizing it and being like, this is what, and it's still mine because I worked so hard on it. What the first draft was not publishable at all. It was just some thoughts really, and I really like made it into an actual story. And she talks about like taking parts out and like making it more gentle towards like the white people who were harming the Chinese soldiers or workers. They were workers who were being forced to fight in World War One, I guess. And it was just so crazy. And it gets worse, and she starts thinking that she's seeing her friend's ghost and stuff like that, and it gets wild. Anyway, it was very very good. I love this author. I've read some other stuff from them before. There's more things that I want to read from them. They're really good. So yeah, it honestly really good. We had one good one. We had one good one. We will add review. We'll just do 4.5, I think. Yeah, she took the book from an Asian woman, and then the book was about white people taking from Asian people. Yeah. Yeah. you see the satire, you see the humor in it. It's sort of funny, but then like sometimes I'm just like, damn, I kind of understand where she's coming from, but then I'm like, but that's because she's rationalizing. Like, she rationalizes it so well that you almost start to be like, oh, well, she did do a lot of work on the book. She does deserve some credit. And you're just like, wait, no, she's awful. Anyway, it was pretty good. Last one I finished last night, and this one is horny as hell. And I should have guessed. I should have known. Do you see the name of this book? I should have known. I should have known. But I was like, look at the cover, so cool. I know it seemed to be like the thing. It was talking about you know, like some sort of alien creature that like spreads through infection. So like, and wants to like take over the world and like hive mind type of things. But I should have known. It was pretty good though. It was actually really great, and there was a lot of allegories for uh trans identity through or just LGBTQ identity, and issues within relationships, and trying so hard to be what a partner wants instead of just being who you are, which is what somebody who would want you would want. Like there's like a whole thing going on in there. And then like also it's terrifying, and there's a lot of like really good um there's really good action scenes, and then there's also lots of horny. Lots of horny. There's a lot of horny. Be prepared for horny if you read this thing. I'm sure that you would be a smart person who reads Spread Me and goes, that's gonna be horny. Yeah, that one is gonna be horny. I was an innocent little flower when I picked this one up because I was like, no, this is gonna be about an infection type of thing. This is gonna be about, trying to take over everyone and be a hive mind type of thing. That's gonna be spread, and it's gonna be like, oh, I'm a virus, spread me, haha, hee hee. Um, which I was kind of right about. It was just a double entendre, and I should have seen it coming. Anyway, it was very good though. I very much enjoyed it. I would highly recommend it if you are prepared for spreading. I'm a virus, haha, hee hee. I'm gonna get ya, and then I'm gonna take you over, and then I'm gonna try to fuck this one girl. There's this one. She's there. She's very fuckable, and I'm gonna get her, and I'm gonna fuck her. It's gonna be great. But also, allegories for trans identity, for LGBTQ identity, for a lot of things. Really good relationship issue. It was okay. Is it a 5? Is it a 4? Is it a 5? Is it a 4? 5 or 4? 5 or 4? 5 or 4? A high 5, 4. High 4. High 4. Almost a 5. Nah, there's just better things out there. Ad review. We're not gonna say how good it was. I liked it. I had fun. It was horny. See, we did it. We did it so fast. Yeah. Okay, now we can go on to the book. Are you prepared? Are you prepared for book club? Have you read the book? Who read the book? Yeah! I got one enthusiastic. I did the reading. Congratulations. Good job. I read it twice. And then skimmed through it again to get ready for this. Okay, let's go here. Get big again. Here's our book. Here's our book. Isn't it great? What do you guys think of it? Isn't it pretty? Look at that cover. In a minute. So this is someone you can build a nest in by John Wiswell. And it is a horror sort of dark fantasy, but not like that kind of dark fantasy romance. It's pretty great though. So it's set in a traditional fantasy setting. So it's something you would think of like with like Dungeons and Dragons. And then it has some characters, some landowning type characters, and a monster. A monster. Probably not one pair of jeans, too. Yeah, probably not. So our monster's name is Shisheshin. She is a worm, as that's what they call her, with a Y. She's this monster, and she's inhabited this manor for a very long time. They have like a water, like a hot spring that goes directly into the manor, and that's where she was hatched. That's where she devoured her father, and where she fought and eventually devoured all of her siblings, and has lived in hibernated in for many a years now, it seems. Yeah, it's kind of in the basement. That's a normal thing in some of these like manor-y type houses. And she's just chilling. She lives there. She hunts. Then when it gets cold, she hibernates and you know comes out. She's like a gray blob, but then she can like build her own body using other body parts. Other sometimes just like metal she finds hanging around. Stuff she can like sink it into her body and create like bones and structure out of it so that she can have a body, and it's pretty cool. Yeah, she uses a chain for a spine in one part, which is really interesting. Some of them use like, I think there was like a bear trap that was used for jaws in one of them. That was kind of cool. But like she's a shapeshifter though, so she can make herself look like anything for the most part. She has a pet, of course. His name is Blueberry. He is a large blue bear. They just hang out in the forest where the manor is in. And then yeah, she's just hanging out. She's hanging out there and she's having a good time. Devouring people, just doing what monsters do. She's trying to live peacefully on her own, and then one day more monster hunters come to get her. They've been coming for a while now. She doesn't really understand what's going on with them because she just devours them. What else are you gonna do? But these monster hunters come. The monster hunters are Rourke and Malik. I always want to say Malik, but I think it's Malik. They were hired by the Wolffire family, and that's the people who own the house that she is inhabiting in. She calls it her lair. So they come with one of the Wolffire children named Catharsis to try to like kill her, and she's like in the middle of hibernating, so she has to like quickly try to form a body together, and like she tries to trick them. It doesn't really work out that well, and Catharsis is just like a cruel son of a bitch and doesn't really care, and is like, we're getting rid of the worm today. He uses rosemary oil, which is actually toxic to Shisheshin. She will die from it if she gets too much into her, but for the most part she can kind of like it'll just harm her and she can get rid of it, and as long as she eats something or someone as it were, she can heal herself pretty easily. But in the fighting, she ends up getting a arrow to where her heart should be, with the rosemary oil that's tainted with it. And so they all think that she's dead. But she's able to kill Catharsis in the process of all this, um, which is fun. But Rourke and Malik, they get away. And she doesn't have a heart, though. That's the thing. They keep on saying that, like, the Baroness, who is the mother, the matriarch of this family, the Wolfire family, she keeps on saying, "I need to get this monster's heart," and then I will know that the monster is dead. But like, Shisheshan finds this confusing because she's like, "I don't have a heart." If she would have had a heart, it would have died. She would have died, but she didn't have a heart. So yeah, she ends up though needing to feed in order to get better. So she tries to find. She removes the bolt. She goes into town to try to find some quick food, some bones and meats and humans. And while she's there, she meets a man named Laurent, who thinks and she thinks about devouring him, but then Malik and Rourke come up and they spot her. They're like, "She's the worm!" And then Shisheshan is hunted down by the village people who were in the moment of celebrating her death, but then it's like, "Oh, she's here, fuck." So they, like, chase her off a cliff. Okay, whatever. I don't remember anything. Anyway, we'll get to the thing about we'll get to that. We'll get to the Baroness and stuff. I thought that she did get rid of the bolt. No, she reuses it after the poison, but she's able to get the poison to. Uh, she's trying to get it so that the poison won't kill her. But she ends up falling off of a cliff. When she wakes up, she thinks that she's dead in this ravine, but she's actually in a little home with a bunch of blankets and warmth, and there's this woman there. Her name is Homily, and she's like, "I did my best to get you better. I'm so sorry." And she's like kind of awkward, but she's cute, and she's soothing and sweet, and Shisheshan isn't really sure how to react to being treated that way because she's used to being, like, hunted down. And but she ends up kind of like, she just doesn't know how to treat this. She doesn't know what's going on here, and so she thinks about devouring Homily because that's what she would normally do. And she doesn't really understand why. She just doesn't do it, and she keeps putting it off. And then slowly it sort of dawns on her that it's because she likes her, and Homily is just not really what she believes humans to be. So apparently I have a quote. Hold on. I gotta go get the quote. The quote is in another place, and I wasn't prepared for the quote. Good quotes though. Some of them are good. Oh my god, why are you broken? Hold on. Okay, so this is from. That's not the right one. Really? Oh. Here we go. This is from chapter 6. It's page 56. This still didn't make sense. Lying in her nest of quilts, Sheshan asked, "Why are you helping me?" The human woman fidgeted with a green scarf under her neck and said, "If I fell off a cliff, I'd hope somebody would help me." "Of course you'd hope that. Nobody actually helped each other." That's why people had religions, hoping gods would provide help where people refused. So she's just very confused by how this is not how she thinks humans act. And here's Homily being this sweet, caring, generous woman. She goes by the name of Siobhan, and just allows Homily to heal her. She never used this word before, or this name before. Shisheshan doesn't really care for names that much. But she kind of like knows them, but it's not like part of her, I guess, culture. Anyway, they end up having to go into town. so she goes with her. Believe it's the town that she was originally ran out of. Yeah, because she meets Laurent there again. Anyway, and she's like worried that people are going to be upset with her and like recognize her and like chase her down again. But and people are staring, but then she realizes they're staring at Homily and not her, which is a weird thing, and she doesn't quite understand why. Um, and Homily leaves her in a hotel room. I'm trying to do this very quickly, and I'm not doing a great job. But Homily like leaves her in like this lodging room so that she can, because she's like, you fell off a cliff, you still need to rest, so sleep. Not knowing she's a monster, she doesn't do that. So she does. She tries to get out to go try to find um some food to heal herself with, and she follows the sounds of noises of people, like music, dancing, that type of thing. And she ends up seeing Homily at a pub. Um, and she's all alone. And she realizes that the one thing that she really, really needs is to heal herself and then make sure that Homily and go to Homily so she's not so lonely. Uh, she ends up bumping into Laurent though when she's trying to get food. Again, Laurent is there. She kind of sees an opportunity. And so she threatens him to get a team together and go back to clean up her lair. And he agrees because he's kind of a freak. Um, and then she goes back to the pub and she does dancing with Homily and uh they have a lovely time and it's cute and sweet and great. Uh they decide to try to she wants to take Homily back to her lair because she's sort of realizing she's kind of getting some feelings. She's fallen in love with her. They try to go. They get stopped by on the road by bandits, and Shisheshin kills them and leaves their bodies hanging out. And then, but Homily is injured, so Shisheshin takes her back to the house and tries to heal her. And when she does the healing, she ends up like using part of her body to knit together flesh on Homily, and she's never done that before. So she's learning like new things that she can do as the monster. Like she has other powers that she was not aware of doing. She could do. I think that was kind of like a cool little scene. During this, when they're together in the house, yeah, she has interesting abilities. When they're together in the house, Homily explains that she is a wolffire, and Shisheshin realizes that that means that she kind of killed her brother not long ago, and also she's part of this family who is hunting her the fuck down, and that's like not great. And so she feels like she has to kill Homily and is very heartbroken over this. When she tries to do it, though, she's not able to. Um, Instead, she promises Homily that she will help her hunt down the monster, which is her. And then they spend like a week. Uh, she's using the brother's skull for her own. They spend like a week trying to do it. She tries to trick her by putting some horns on a sheep, which is a very funny scene. Um, a very funny scene. They but Homily it doesn't work obviously. But Homily makes it clear that they need to have the monster's heart, and if she doesn't bring the monster's heart back to her mother will start to hurt everyone in the town and the surrounding areas, and that's really what Homily is actually worried about. She's not so much worried about the the monster or the apparent curse that is on her family that Shisheshin is also confused by. She's like, I didn't curse anybody. What the fuck are you talking about? Uh, trying to see if there's anything super important there. Oh, there is one thing that's really important. Okay, so Shisheshan gets rid of Laurent and the team. They go, and it is kind of funny because he reveals how much he really enjoys being threatened by her. It's kind of his kink, and he is super happy about it, and it is weird. He's a weird little man, but he's helpful, so that's kind of fun. He basically is like, I will be your servant, and I'll do whatever you say as long as you keep threatening my life. When she leaves, she goes to get rid of the bodies of the bandits that have been sitting there for a while. And she's really emotionally tumultuous at this time. So when she's on her she's in her feelings, so she gorges on these bodies, and so that expands her body mass by like a lot. So she has to get rid of some. So she's able to like expel part of herself and leave it in the cellar storage. And she's planning to be like, okay, I'm gonna put this here, and then like if I need food later on, this will be here for me, and I can come get it. And so she does that, and then they go to talk to the Baroness. And on the way there, Homily warns Shisheshan about her mom being kind of a massive bitch. When they first get there, though, they meet the first of the Wolffire children. So, the Wolffire children, there's Catharsis, who we've already met, who is dead. There's Homily, who is sweet and kind and wonderful. There's Epigram, Homily's younger sister, who Homily had spent a lot of her adolescence raising. She's evil and cruel as hell, quick to rage, and takes wrath out on people around her, often targeting Homily, and not great. And then there's the last one, who is the youngest, who is kind of like, I always kind of pictured her as around like 5 years old, but I can't remember if it was actually stated how old she is. Named Ode. She is an actual child. She is a spoiled brat. She revels in carnage and destruction and cruelty. And she's crazy. She's always hanging on to her mother. Hi, Yellow Mustard. We're doing some fun things here. I'm gonna try to keep going through. You guys keep a eye on the ads for me. Okay, let me see how far I can get through this. They meet the Baroness. The Baroness is kind of a bitch the whole time. Talks about the fact that they need to hunt down this worm, and how she knows what they can do, and how the worms in the past had killed the Wolffire patriarch, so her husband, and she also reveals that she had something she killed the worm that was there before, or you know, and is wearing her jaw on around her neck. And Shisheshan has put together that is the one who killed her mother and took her mother away from her, and so she is raging a little bit inside and wants to kill the Baroness. And also because the Baroness is abusive to Homily, and already like murder and rage is happening. When she leaves this, though, they somebody knocks on the door and is like, when Homily goes away to like talk to family, and they try to pay her off to leave, but Shisheshan's like, I don't understand what's going on. So like this family is super abusive towards Homily. They gaslight her. They make her feel like she's like the black sheep. She's the scapegoat for everything. She never does anything good enough for the family. She's always the one who is, basically it's like the curse still exists because Homily isn't working hard enough. is basically how it sort of feels like. So they're just like all abusing this poor woman. Um and Homily is doing her best and but really wants to help the family. She cares about her family. She finds out that her brother had died and it's really sad. And they are gonna basically go to war to try to get the worm, but it's Shisheshin and it's confusing for her. She doesn't understand these feelings that she's having. Um, there's some interesting discourse about Shisheshin worrying that all the parts of wait, is that this here? Did I go way too down? I did go way too far down. Okay. When Homily and Shisheshin go, they have oh, they also have a really cute hug. I don't need to put that in there right now. Okay. Um Shisheshin in this moment, Shisheshin feels pain in her body, which is unusual for her. And then she realized that astonishingly, she is bleeding, which is really not a thing because she doesn't have a circulatory system, but she's, confused. But there's like a really deep, like, pain in her chest. Something is pulsing, kind of like a heart, and that is alarming. She doesn't understand what's happening though. There's this dinner that the family is having, and Shisheshin shows up to it but like stays back to kind of be like, oh, Homily, is it okay that I'm here? And I guess it is because she's really happy to see her there. At the dinner, they talk about theories about the monster, and then they talk about a blue bear that they've seen in the forest. And Epigram is like really convinced that this is connected to the worm somehow. The Baroness is trying to shut it down though. And then just sort of like announces that the family and everybody were going to go into the woods and hunt the worm. We'll hear no objections about this. Shisheshin goes and follows the hunt into a camping place. They are hanging out there for a minute, and then Homily and Epigram come. They follow the after everybody has been set up there. And they have Blueberry. So Epigram defied orders and was like, "Nope, this is important," and went and got Blueberry and made Homily come and help. And then they basically use it as bait, which is kind of working because the only thing that Shisheshin can think of is how to get the bear free, and comes up with a plan. They go into like a sort of like night hunt situation, and in that night hunt, Shisheshin is able to get Blueberry free, thank God. Um, but then also another monster comes and attacks and is kind of like seemingly coming after Shisheshin herself, and she's confused. What the fuck is this thing? It seems to be like really like going for her. Um, but then it's like seems to be something that is like just like her in that Homily is trying to take care of Ode, but Ode is being a little bitch, as she do. She's kind of crazy, and she wants to go see. She wants to see them kill it. So she goes out of the tent, and the other creature that is seems to be a mirror copy of Shisheshin, it attacks and kills Ode. Well, eats Ode. The Baroness then really speed runs her grief from denial to rage, just like real quick. And Homily just feels completely responsible for the whole thing. Um, and Shisheshin wants to try to help. Shisheshin is in pain from her newly found heart. She realizes she has this heart, but then she realizes that it's actually not a heart, but an egg sac, and it's because she's in love with Homily and wants her to be the father in the way that she understands parenthood. I don't know. That was a little okay, but it makes sense. She recognizes, though, that she loves Homily and doesn't want to force this on her or see her die, which is what would happen if this went the way that she did. Um, they talk about not liking to kiss much, which is kind of cute. Shisheshin is at this moment, though, like, because she's realizing that she's in love with Homily, she wants to tell her the truth about everything, but she keeps failing to. She just can't find the words to be like, ooh, by the way, I'm the worm? Didn't curse you, though. And then, at that time, it's when Homily explains everything that happened with, Epigram and her, and how she helped kind of raise her, and then Epigram turned into this cruel little monster and would often like abuse her physically by cutting at her neck, and that's why she always wears this scarf. Homily believes that she deserves everything that she gets, though. And she just needs to, if she just is there for the family, it'll somehow fix everything. And then that's when there's this really interesting discourse about Shisheshin worrying that all the parts of Homily that she fell in love with are actually just trauma responses from the abuse that she's endured. Her generosity and her kindness, all that kind of stuff. It's I don't know. It's something to chew on. It kind of alarms me. I don't know. Makes me a little confused about my own. Whatever. I identify with that. Shisheshin wonders if the monster that attacks her, she starts thinking about that one. She goes home to try to heal up from the attack that she just endured, but when she's there, she discovers that that little bit of matter that she left in storage to come back to eat is gone. And she realizes over a little bit that the monster that was attacking them is actually a part of her that has become sentient, and is trying to rejoin her and is following her intentions to attack the Wolfires in, yeah. So that's a problem that she has to deal with. But then they go back, and she goes back still kind of not doing well. They talk about how they're going, what the next steps should be. The Baroness is in some sort of like secret place. She's testing out bombs, though, they find out, she plans to use on the town to find the monster. So Shisheshin is like, I gotta make a plan. And she ends up going in, stealing bombs, some of the bombs, and she thinks she'll use this to get like a distraction and get to figure out what to do, but she ends up in the hunt alone with the Baroness, and that's when she decides she wants to attack her. That the murder doesn't work, and it is revealed in that moment that the Baroness is actually Shisheshin's mother, and that she has been parading as this Baroness for a long time, and she has been hunting down her offspring in order to devour her egg sac. That's why she always wanted to get a heart. And her plan was to kill one of the Wolffire children and take on their appearance to continue living. Apparently the egg sac would help her, would revitalize her and make her live longer. She's able to get away, and she decides that she really needs to tell the truth now. And she goes to try to talk to Homily, and instead, it's Epigram who she was talking to, and she attacks her, and then she gets Homily in there and is like, but you need to kill her. And then but it reveals when she's like in this when Epigram is gloating about everything, she reveals too much, and she realizes that yeah, Epigram shoots her, but like she attacks her, and she's about to be dying, and then she realizes that because Epigram's gloating, she realizes that all of the things that she knows about life are not true, and that the things that she realizes it's not great. And she's able to she realizes that the curse isn't real, that the monster thing is just a lot of lies. She takes the blade that Epigram gave her to try to kill Shisheshin, and she kills Epigram instead, which is haunting. Um, then, with all the truth out in the open, oh my god, yeah, the curse wasn't her. The whole reason was for hurting Shisheshin. It was also a dagger. Yeah, it's a blade, the dagger that she used to abuse Homily. That's true. All these things are true. I'm trying to be short. I'm trying to get through it shortly. We can't add all of the details. I'm trying to get to the end here. So, they need to come up with a plan to get rid of the Baroness now, because the truth is out in the open. It takes Homily a minute, but she gets with the program. She needs, and they're like, we need to get rid of the Baroness, and so Shisheshin eats Epigram, and then shapeshifts into her, and they go and meet Mommy Dearest, who is ravaging a town, and they're like trying to put suspicion on her to be like, oh, is she okay? Is maybe she's the monster? Have you drank any of the rosemary wine? They have rosemary wine. I didn't mention that before. Have you drank any of the rosemary wine so that everybody can see that you're who you say you are? They're trying to put suspicion on her. And then they go off and they try to find them. I'm trying to like figure out how to say this as briefly and concisely as possible. They put the suspicion on her. People are kind of like scratching their heads a little bit, but like aren't like trying to attack her yet. Then they, in a few scenes later, they end up in a basement, which is where Shisheshin, who is disguised as Epigram, finds the offspring, which is what they end up calling it at that point, sees who it is, has like a sort of bonding moment with it, which also happened a little bit earlier, but then it's like, okay, no, I know who you are, I see you. And then has the offspring hide, calls down the Baroness, and then attacks her in that moment. And there's a battle that rages on. There's rosemary wine down in the cellar. It's a cellar more than a basement. There's a rosemary wine that's in the cellar there. So Shisheshin takes the rosemary wine and pulls it into her body and puts it into her heart or her egg sac. She lets it fill up into her egg sac and then offers it to the Baroness, and she eats it excitedly, but it's now poisoned with all the rosemary wine, and with all the rosemary wine, and she disintegrates basically. But in this, obviously, Shisheshin is also very much hurt and not doing well. Homily comes down, basically grabs up whatever the remains of that she can get of Shisheshin, who is like melty goo, and the offspring, kind of puts them in a bag and then takes them off. And then the story that they give is that the Baroness was eaten by the worm, and that I don't remember if they said that Homily killed the worm, but the worm was destroyed. But everybody's like, cool, okay, we're really glad that bitch is gone. We're really glad about that. Then Homily, Sheshin, and the offspring go back to the manor and they try to live their little peaceful life. It is very sweet. Lots of sweet moments in that one of them trying to get together. But the offspring still wants to harm Homily, but is quite too young to do that, is tiny and kind of weak. And Sheshin is very concerned that Homily will go back to her old ways of letting people take too much and that the offspring will hurt her. Um but doesn't know what to do because she feels like the offspring has autonomy, so it's not like she can just get rid of it. And so, but they kind of like have parenting moments in these things, and it's really cute. And Homily wants to name it. She ends up naming him Epigraph or Epilogue. Sorry, she ends up naming it Epilogue, in honor of her siblings. It's kind of cute. But then Secession needs to go into uh hibernation again, and she is worried about it because she thinks that she's going to wake up and Homily and the offspring will have killed one another, um or one or the other. So she's concerned and doesn't want to go into hibernation but has to. And Homilly's just like, don't worry, we got you. You're gonna be fine. I got this. I'm gonna be great. And so she goes into the hot spring and goes into hibernation. And when she wakes up, Homily and Epilogue are there. And it took some time, but they have an understanding. And I really like the ending, like the very last bit is sorry, acknowledgements. Sheshin asked, wait, hold on, I'm not that far. She's talking to Sheshin. She says, "You didn't hurt yourself when you were alone. You didn't let her hurt you." Talking about epilogue. Torchlight flickered in the moisture in Homily's eyes. She slouched down, nearly sinking into the waters with Sheshin. Every day was a brutal mystery. Which we got through together. We learned about each other. The trick was realizing we both wanted the same thing, the thing that was worth going through all this for. That's what brought us together. Sheshin fidgeted with the chain inside her body, unable to get it straight. It was like she'd forgotten how to build herself, because she was too struck with wonder that both Homily and Epilogue were alive. She stared at them both, unable to blink, and Homily lifted her up in those powerful arms into the waiting world. Sheshin asked, "What was it? What did you both want so badly?" And Homily answered, "You." And that's the last. That's the last of the book. It's so good. Oh, and then you get goosebumps and you go hee, and then you read the acknowledgments if you're me. And that's what happened in the book. Don't you guys feel like you can now talk about it? Wow. All right. And we just had ads too. I know I talked about the through the ads, but a lot of you guys are subscribed who are here, so and most of you actually read it through it. So I feel pretty good that my as fast as I could rambling of what happened in that book worked out well. And now you probably remember more if you I don't know, you guys just read it. Nobody read it like a month ago like me. Okay. Are you ready for first discussion question? I think it will be fun. There's so much to this book that I think is super good to read. I could talk about it forever. I agree. It's hard to do a synopsis because there's like little bits that I have to leave out because it's like that's a really good part, but we don't have time. First discussion question though. Which character did you find most relatable? Not your favorite character, but the one that maybe you related with the most. Hmm. Hmm. So we have Shisheshin. We have, hold on, I have a list of the characters at the top, which is helpful. With Shisheshin, we have Blueberry, which okay. We have Rourke and Malik, Laurent, the Baroness, Catharsis, Homily, Epigram, and Ode are probably the main ones who are in here. I think you relate to the monsters. Yeah. Oh, yeah, 100% Blueberry. I don't know. Maybe you feel hunted. Maybe you feel trapped. You might have felt trapped. I think that it was like difficult because we have the two main characters. So Shisheshin was very, very relatable, um, in a lot of ways, and I think that she's made to be that way, especially like if maybe you're a little bit neurospicy or queer or trans. There's lots of things. There's lots of lenses to look at Shisheshin through, which we'll talk about later too. That's the next discussion question. But I think that there's like more. There's relatability with everyone. I kind of relate to Homily a lot. Squishy, squishy woman who loves and wants to sacrifice and ends up getting hurt from it a lot. That's something that reminds me of myself sometimes. Strangely, I can put myself in the Baroness's shoes. She sucks, but I get it. You want to talk more on that? What do you understand? What resonates with you with her motives? And then Jinx here says it's interesting because the reality was while she and the offspring were monsters, it wasn't being a monster that was evil. It was someone who twisted a family around themselves that was truly evil. Yeah, it. I mean, like she was a monster too. Monsters can be monsters, but people can be monsters too. The people around her let this happen, and Catharsis, Epigram, was it Gram Epigram? Yeah, they're not. They weren't monsters, but they were like horrendously bad people. Sure, they were raised by the Baroness, but I'm curious. I'm curious how the motives that you understand pretty well. I kind of can see it that like it's in her nature to prolong her life. And I guess like if you can prolong your life and you don't see people as like equals or individuals and they're just like animals to you, I could see it. The Baroness slid into the life of luxury and wealth with the plan of extending her life and settling herself up for a good future. She was a terrible person because people are just food and objects to her. Exactly. Yeah. I can see where that comes from, and it's sort of it's just like the rich. I mean, it's just like consumption at its core. If you think about it, like if you were aware of any conservationism, we as humans do treat animals and the world we live in kind of like the Baroness did. It's just like horrifying to us because we would be her food. And hey, I like consumption. I like to, buy things. Buying things makes me happy. I like when I can buy like things and have nice stuff. And a lot of times that nice stuff comes from Amazon. And Amazon is a really horrible company that does lots of awful things, and it, is bad for the environment, and is bad for people, but is bad for animals, and they do bad things. It's bad. I like to eat chocolate too. What the fuck are we doing with chocolate? Holy shit. I learned too much. But like, I do bad stuff all the time just by living in capitalism. What are you gonna do, you know? But her plan makes sense, and if I was her and never knew love or tenderness before, I don't know, same girl. I feel bad for her, but not too bad. No, yeah, I see that. I see that. All right, good, good. Um, what do you think of Laurent? Because I find him fascinating. Okay, Jinx. Also, it's not just that she was a monster. She used every trick to keep everyone in line, like how the Baroness telling Homily that catharsis and that she was a terrible person for going dancing. Oh, that the catharsis was dead and she was a terrible person for going dancing. I don't feel bad for the Baroness. Yeah. I mean, I don't really feel bad for her either, but that's also because I have a history of people treating me in a similar way. Not a parent, um, but you know, I had an abusive relationship in the past, okay? And I was treated very similarly. Um, this is a an exaggeration of it, but like the gaslighting and the way that it's like that kind of thing. Oof, oof, that was oof. On Laurent. Oh, he's potentially the most interesting person in the book. Like he liked being intimidated by Shisheshan. Yes, I find him so fun. I think I like the Baroness was. I think I like the Baroness was great. I think. Hold on, sorry, the sentence. I think I like the Baroness because she was great, and I think she was great because she was the perfect villain for the story. You like her the most. Yeah, no. You like villains, though. You like to get into villain minds. You might like that serial killer book, actually. I think she made a good Baroness and she had motives that made sense. Or she made a good villain. She had motives that made sense. Yeah, that was one of the things that I really liked about this was nothing felt forced. Everything really felt natural. In the way that the motives of the people and every character felt real. Um Okay, wait, I missed something from Jinx. Hold on. Talking on Laurent, he enjoyed that he had real fear for with the Baroness bombing the town because she was actively destroying the town, and he was trying everything to save it. Yeah, Laurent is the hero that we needed, and then I also like that in the end when they go back to the house to the manor to live there. He's still, the guy. He's still like employed by them. He becomes like a butler almost, and but like is out of the way. He's their delivery dude. He just brings them everything. I just hate when the story has great characters and the villain is not right for the story. That's true. And this one is good. He's DoorDash. All right. I think we're good to move on to the next one. Let's see what time we're at. Yeah, let's go ahead. So Shisheshan is a versatile character and is endlessly relatable for a variety of reasons, which is why I'm glad we didn't really talk about Shisheshan much. What parts of the book resonated with you where you resonated with the supposed monster? Because I think there's so many layers to Shisheshan that you can easily find ways to um resonate with her. Um, so like being autistic, for example, and her not really understanding cultural norms. Um, that's one of the ways that I felt like I really resonated with her. The whole thing with them just like not liking kissing. Also, I don't like kissing much. Every once in a while, I'm kind of into it, but like I'm never somebody who's going to be like, "Oh yeah, let's put our mouths on each other because ew, yucky." And also it just like triggers my claustrophobia. So that one like really got me. Let me see. I think she's interesting cuz she knows the town so well and in her own way cares about it. Yes, that's true. She does have I think she cares about there being equilibrium and that like okay, this is my lair, this is where I am. Yes, you are food, but you guys need to she definitely like has this sense of like individuals have autonomy and she cares about that autonomy, like the butcher shop, or that she's preyed on prep sheriffs and other bad guys in the past. Yeah, she does try to mm, hold on, I'm trying to find, I had a quote I thought. Hold on. I have a quote that I think is a good one from Shisheshin. She says, from what she knew of civilization, all children were parasites. You were supposed to grow to like that about them. I don't know. Just like the way that she says stuff like that. There's so many examples of it where she's just like very bluntly explaining something that comes across as funny, and like Homily, when she says stuff like that, even Homily is like laughing at her and being like, "Oh, you're so funny." But she's just like, No, that's just the truth, the truth of the matter." Um, and I like that's kind of like where my humor stems from, is me just saying the thing out loud. And I had to learn how to like put a little spin on it so it was obvious that it was a joke. Um, but yeah, I don't know. She lived within town without anyone knowing and just picking off someone here and there occasionally. Yes, that's true. I did relate to Shisheshin when she had to wake up from the hibernation early. I'm a sleepy bitch, I get it. I was kind of like thinking if there was, because I feel like the fact that there's like neurotypical um stuff with Shisheshin that I think is relatable. But I also think that she's relatable as um somebody like learning how to love. She's relatable as somebody who thinks about her body a lot. And I think that uh there's something in that that has allegories towards trans identity. Um and I was curious if that was anything that maybe you picked up on, like looking at secession through an LGBTQ lens. Um, are there any relatable things that maybe popped out to you? Because I know, like, just being, uh, I guess, lately gender fluid, um, some things with that kind of like came up for me. Feeling the need to hide herself, but also wanting to tell the secret. Oh, she's totally gender fluid. I mean, kind of. And she's in the fluids a lot. Um, but like, I think that like she has an identity for her own gender, but I think that she doesn't like really care about gender very much, which is interesting. But also, I think that like there's like a concept of like her feeling like a monster being hunted by people for just being who she is, kind of comes up with queerness for me. Oh, and they said it. Oh, cool. Okay. Never getting a moment just right and being interrupted when trying to tell her secret. Yeah. I don't know. All those things just like I find secession just secession secession. I find her to be easily relatable in these moments. Um Maybe I related with her a lot too. That might be my answer. But I feel like I mostly relate to Homily from the previous question. Okay, we can move on if you're good. We good to move on? You have the feeling that everyone is talking bad about your core identity and sitting there like, that me. That's who I am. Yeah, I can imagine. Like if you're in like a family situation and your family are not very accepting, um, and you're just sitting there like because you're trying being closeted because she's kind of like closeting herself as the monster. Are you guys good to move on? You want to go to the next one? Yeah, we're good. Okay. Uh, the concept of romance changes a lot for Shishushin. Why does that extra E never come in? Throughout the book, from finding a nest for her eggs to falling in love and raising a child. What stands out to you about Shishushin's feelings for Homily and how their relationship develops? Hmm. I think it's interesting in the beginning too, because she's like, I want to eat this. I should eat this person. Under normal circumstances, I would eat this person. But then she's unable to, and she doesn't understand why, and it's perplexing. Yeah. Well, she starts. Well, the start, she keeps finding excuses not to kill her, and it's yeah, exactly. She really changes her concept of what humans can be. Because I think that she's only ever encountered humans who want to kill her. And Homily like wants to kill the monster, but not because she's scared of the monster, it seems like. She wants to do it because she's scared of her mother. I know this one's kind of like a this is a question I would have asked in my in my uh master's degree things. At first I was thinking all you need to be is nice for the monster to not eat her, but that's kind of true for all relationships. Well, she was hunting Shisheshin because she loves her family and she's convinced that the curse will kill them all and she's trying to stop it. Yeah. She's well I mean there's that too, but also she makes it pretty clear at some point that it's like we need to do this because if we don't do this then my mother will rain hell on this place and everybody here will be affected by it. Like she's worried about the curse and she's worried about her family, but she makes it pretty clear at some point that she's more worried about what her mother's going to do. Um I think that is kind of interesting that Shisheshin's first inclination towards romance is um finding a mate for whom you can lay your egg sac in. Because that's what was displayed to her. She talks about how she thinks that her father was a good man who um was generous. Yeah, she has a fantasy from it, like that was what she had modeled to her as like that is what a father does and that's what I need to do. So when I start to have these feelings, I'm going to need to find somebody for whom would do that for my own offspring. um I think that's interesting. But then she slowly starts to realize, but like, I like Homily and I kind of don't want her to die. So, like, how do I handle that? What do I do with that? Yeah, that was interesting. She personified her father's meat and corpse. Yeah. Like that her mother and father loved each other and it was the ultimate sacrifice. I would really like to know how she figured this out. That's another thing that's very interesting is that she is attracted to sacrifice, it seems, because like that's something in Homily that she finds the generosity of Homily is something that she finds attractive. She only remembered her mother's middle teeth, yeah. When do you think Shisheshin's feelings for Homily shifts from I want to lay a nest in you to I want to spend a life with you? And no point she was her father willing, but she looked at it like how humans are with their kids. Like she saw parents in town and she was like, that's how mine was. Maybe. No, that makes sense. And she's like, okay, this is how parenting works, so obviously this is what my parents were for me. I don't know how much she understands about human relationships because she does struggle with them at first. But I am curious where it shifted for her to I want to put my egg sac in this woman so that she can be my children's father, or to I want to spend my life with her. Classic orphan mindset, imagining the best aspects of it, of what it could have been. Yeah, I think that if I look back, when Shisheshan starts really like earnestly trying to tell Homily the truth, sometime after sometime after she meets the family, and I think that she sees that this is not how a family should act because it's hurting Homily. And I think that's when she starts to question, like, okay, so then how should a family act? How do I think people should treat one another? And she starts basing her concept of how people should treat one another on how Homily treats other people, and that people need to treat Homily that way. And so that's when she starts to like shift her understanding of romance from you are meat for my offspring. Eventually you sacrifice your body as meat for my offspring to um we share a life together. Fine. I'm not sure if you guys are like typing. Yeah, I wish I could see if there was typing happening. It is wild when, while trying to figure people out, she sees plainly how bad Homley's family treats her and immediately clocks that as not right. Yeah. But I think that they also have like moments in their time together when she's still like, I guess they're in a cabin just right after she wakes up from the fall. Um I think that in that time she sort of is like, okay, this is how this woman is treating me, and she's starting to like question how humans should treat. Is it camp? Was it a camp? Okay, couldn't remember. Oh yeah, like a wagon. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. That does make sense. Yeah, but like, yeah, she's learning things from her in those moments, and she's just slowly just like, okay, why do people treat you badly then? Another reason that another reason that I think that I identify with Homily is because she's a big woman and she's squishy, and I am a squishy woman as well. Um, Yeah. And people kind of stare at her for that. I think that because of that those moments too, Shisheshan almost sort of identifies with Homily because when they're in the town and everybody's staring at Homily and seems kind of like to be avoiding her and stuff like that, she sees that they also treat her like a monster. She's not sure why, and I think it's a little bit because of her size and also because of her family. But sort of an outcast fellowship, yeah. Like how they were like, you don't have to pay for the room, and Shisheshan couldn't figure out why that was bad. Yeah. I'm poor and I also can't figure out why that's bad, but I do understand why. It's because they're only doing it because they're scared of her mom, basically. Which, if you think about royalty and nobles, isn't far off, just in a different tone. Yeah. It fear in one form or another. It's fear in one form or another. Yeah. Okay. Good, good, good. Let's see what the next one is, because I think it's a good way to segue. It's just a fun one. Are any sweet romantic parts of the book that stuck out to you? You should name them here. Because sometimes it just got so cute and romantic. My favorite part, my favorite part is when Homily is upset and Shisheshan is trying to comfort her. And so she hugs her. It is so cute. I have a quote for it. I highlighted it. Uh, when she thought Homily wasn't paying attention, she shapeshifted more body length to her arms so they could fit all around her. Like smothering a victim, comforting was easier to do with a good grip. It was so cute. She stretches out her arms because it's so romantic. The dancing scene also super romantic and sweet, and her just being like, "I don't understand why nobody wants to hang out with you. I don't get it." It hits different when you're fat, yeah. If you've ever lived a life where people can't put their arms all the way around you, so somebody like does something to make it. Shut up.
I almost can. It's getting better.
I lost a lot of weight in the last year, so we kind of can't now. She still thinks she's an outcast. Yeah, for the dance one, it's that one was really sweet. Aww. That one was my favorite one though. That's why I have it highlighted. I also obviously the end scene where she's just like, "Oh, we got along. We figured out how to get along because we want it to be there for you." You can fit all the way around. Look at you. Look at you giving hugs. This is why, polyamory is good, because like if you ever have somebody who, they can't fit their arms all the way around, you just get another partner, and then they can hug you together, and together they could have a really good grip. A little sandwich, yeah. All right, I thought this one would be fun. Well, that's the only one that I can think of that will like really. Oh, and the fact that they don't like kissing, and they're like, "Yes, this is great." All the scenes of her and Homily and epilogue were really good. Oh, it's the part that they eat at the end. Yes, I also was thinking about that one. That one was really cute. talking about the wine glass with the gravy. Yes. That one was good. Also kind of gross. But that's just me. I love that like she's trying so hard to learn how to please Shisheshin, and then Shisheshin is uncomfortable by that. Yeah, and their little date. They had a little date. It was very cute. With a baby in a kangaroo pouch, basically. Yeah, like parents on a date. That seems really cute. I really like the one towards the end too, when they are out and Homily is riding on Blueberry. I don't know. I just want to draw that. I want to draw Shisheshin standing nearby in like a field, and there's Blueberry, and Homily is sitting atop the bear holding onto a little gray goo that is trying to nom on her arm. I just envision it and it's so cute, but I can't draw like the way that I see the art should be, but I want to draw it so bad. It sounds like it would be adorable. Okay. Wait for just a second. I never know when I should move on. Okay, she moves on now. The book shows a lot of hardships for Shisheshin and Homily, but interestingly, they never encountered homophobia. What are your thoughts on this? Is it unrealistic, or do you find it refreshing? I don't really have an opinion on this one. I just thought it was interesting. It was an interesting thing to see because I have heard like in queer spaces where we talk about books and writing and stuff like that, how just sometimes you wish that there was a book about queer people where you didn't have to have the looming dread of homophobia over it, and that's exhausting. So I guess I find it refreshing, but I also could see the argument of like that's just like not the way that this works. They made snide remarks, but they make snide remarks about all of her partners. And I had assumed that they weren't all women. It's not necessarily about the fact that they're gay, it's the fact that she has a partner. Yeah, that's what I mean. It wasn't necessarily about the fact that they were two women. It was just that Shisheshin was with Homily. Yeah, the homily doesn't ever say what the others were either gender. So I don't know for sure, but they always say partners. So that's why I guess I assumed that maybe it was men and women. Um but also probably cuz I see myself in her, so I yeah. But it like people other than the family, like you would think in another story like people would have like had some pearl clutching because they danced together or they checked into an inn together. um like whenever someone gets close to me they tend to disappear. It was something like that, so Shushin was the first to not take the money and stayed. Yeah, they did a gendered something about the partners. They said, okay. They said it gendered something about the partners, but I'd have to look it up. Okay, I don't remember this. But, no sticks and stones. It's just usually in the time period. They said a female something. Yeah, okay. I don't remember it either. I'm trying to, like, look back, but nothing's hitting me. Could be because I read 4 books this week. I read too fast. I get things confused sometimes. But what do you think generally if a story doesn't have the... Also funny that Shisheshin starts calling her girlfriend really quickly. Well, lesbians, you know? Move in really quick too. I mean, it's just the way it works. There's some classism taking place, probably, because there's nobles. I think that, like, but generally, homophobia wasn't at least a central part of this thing. People seem to, at the very least, have very modern takes on homosexuality, and didn't seem to be too upset that they were together, where in a lot of places this would be like a burn the witch sort of situation. Especially when you think of what the time period was for this, it would have been bad, you know? And it's kind of interesting that that wasn't really an issue. The issue was never about the fact that they were gay. It was always just hatred towards homily because there's hatred towards homily. With the family, at least. And then, like, the townspeople didn't seem to notice nor care. The gods above and below didn't prohibit gay stuff. But that's the thing, is, like, do you find that in a story, is that refreshing, or do you find it unrealistic? Do you like that? Remy's over here being like, it's fantasy. I don't understand. Okay, then
It's realistic. It's fucking fantasy.
He says,
it's realistic.
He says, of course it's unrealistic. It's fantasy. Nothing in fantasy is realistic. I disagree with that. There's a lot of realism in it. I like a middle ground.
Within the logic of their world, it is realistic to not have that and to not have homophobia.
Yeah, that's true. That's not what the question is asking, though. I'm good with it. I'm fine with homophobia being thrown down the well. He's saying that he thinks that it was, it just makes sense because in this world, they just don't have it. I hope book club is going down. I am dying, but want to at least stop by. I'm sorry, Fort. Thank you for coming in. I think the writer puts what they want to see in the world. That's true. I guess I just, as somebody who cares a lot about literature, I don't think the authorial intent fucking matters. I don't care what the author intends in a book. I care about how it is read. I wrote my story like, nothing wrong with being gay, but it's unusual and we will find you weird for being gay. But for this story, it would have been too much. I agree with that. That's a good point, that there's a lot of stuff going on in this, so that if they also added them being homophobic, it would have been way too much. You couldn't dissect that if there was like a lot of outward homophobia. Taking a drink real quick. Okay, we have an hour left, and we have a couple of questions left. And then, like, if you guys have questions, we can keep on going. We have ads starting in about 2 minutes. Also, Shisheshin could have been male, and nothing changed, and I kind of love that. Yeah, Shisheshin could have always just been a man. She seems to identify as a woman, sort of, but I don't think that she really fully understands the concept of that, nor does she care. She just doesn't have a concept of gender. She's non binary, but uses female um, pronouns, feminine pronouns. She's a loon probably because being a woman is easier to attract prey. Sorry. I wonder if in her species they have gender. I mean, like, she has eggs, so there's that. Yeah, and the end epilogue picked a gender, which was cute. Like, oh, my offspring is a she now. On top of, oh, they didn't kill each other. And she writes! She's a writer! Oh no! That means her name is Epilogue. Hey, where did that question go? Oh, that's the next question. I'm getting a drink. I'm waiting for the ads to start. We only have 3 examples of the species, so it's hard to tell. This is true. I mean, there are eggs, but I wonder if all of them have eggs. Is that just like a thing? And then, like, how do the eggs get fertilized? That was never really explained either. Through love, romance, through like, do the love hormones make them asexually reproduce? Opening chapter, she says her sister bit her. Were all the siblings girls? That's a good question. I don't know. Or do they default to she to feminine pronouns because they are egg carriers? Like, what? I don't know. And again, I don't know how the fertilization works. Like, is there a male component to it other than a body holding the eggs? If she said brothers too, or just siblings, that's true. Let me we can do some stuff here. Let me take a look while we have ads going. After the ads, I want to go on to the next question though. Search. Brother. Never says brothers. If I put in brother. Whenever it says something about a brother, it is always talking about catharsis. Yeah, pretty much. There's only... Yeah, it's always talking about catharsis if it mentions brother. I wonder, since Epilogue was born from Shishushan while she was making that mass and thinking about homily, maybe it depends on who they love, and maybe it's just chance. That's true. Also, the fact that the egg sac didn't even exist until suddenly it's there. Right. I think that, like, there has to be, like, certain conditions met. And also, the egg sac is a heart. Like, the idea is that homily comes into Shisheshan's life, and it's not a heart, but because of her feelings for homily, she starts to grow a heart. and it is a painful experience, and then she sacrifices her heart in the end. Heart in quotation marks. But like there's that's sort of the imagery, the symbolism that you should be getting from it is that the egg sac is a heart, and it is being grown because and it matures and becomes a pivotal point of Shisheshin's love for Homily. Like, did meeting Homily cause it to spawn, or was it always going to appear around that time? Like, the Baroness expected her to have it by that time, and also never considered love to be a factor. That's the way that I see it, is that because I think that the egg sac is supposed to be a symbol for a heart, for like a, what is that called? Not like a physical heart, but like the Grinch grew a heart, three that heart. What is that word? Metaphorical heart, I guess. Not quite the word I was looking for, but it works. It might be time to have it in her life cycle. That's also something that I was thinking. But I think that because she feels it and it feels like a heart, and she feels those pangs, especially when she's feeling love towards Homily, and a desire to protect, and there's a chance that the egg sac coming into it, like the egg sac appearing because she got into that maturity, meant that it would like fill her with hormones of like, gotta find a partner to put this egg sac in. Like, that might be part of the nature too, and may have affected her desire to her feelings for Homily to begin with, perhaps, because in the end we're all just animals. Anyway, I did want to move on to the next question, which is, I think, an interesting one that you guys will like. The Wolffire children's names: Catharsis, Homily, Epigram, not graph. Hold on, let's fix that. Epigram, Ode, and eventually Homily names their child Epilogue. How do these characters reflect their names? I think some of them are pretty obvious. Catharsis is the one that I really am like, Other than, I guess, like, his death is a sort of catharsis moment for Homily specifically. At least it like starts the path of a catharsis. He's such an asshole. Yeah. But like, I don't understand his name. But I think like Homily makes sense to me because it's like a small sermon that is more of an emotional type of thing instead of like really dogmatic. He deserved that bear trap. Right in his, I don't remember where she bit him, but she got him. She got him good. So, also, epigram to me makes sense a little bit because it's sort of a clever, it's like a funny but like clever sort of thing, and I think that makes sense for epigram because she sort of thinks that she is that, but in very cruel, sharp ways. She has a really cruel, pithy sayings or remarks expressing an idea in a clever and amusing way. But you see the way that she talks a lot. She's very sarcastic, Um, her pithiness is very cruel and sharp tongued, though. So it kind of makes sense for her. But also, you could see her as a. Because what is she supposed to be? The What is she to the Baroness? Also, because I don't know if the Baroness a was was the monster when she somehow had, like, I don't understand how that works. But like, did she name them these things? Yeah, Ode makes the most sense to me. Well, she knew she was. The Baroness says at the final fight. She knew she was what? I don't know. She knew she was. Oh, the epigram knew the secret. Yeah, no, I know that. But I'm wondering, how did these children come to be? Did the Baroness somehow produce them? Did the Baroness steal them? And then, but did she name them? Or did the Baroness that there was before the monster took over her identity, is that who named them? And then where the fuck did Ode come from then? But that's my question: is did the Baroness name them? Oh, an epigram would make snide remarks about the Baroness's identity. She did do that. That's why I think not as much time went by. That's also possibly true. But I don't. But we're okay. Yeah. So if this is only if it's only been happening for like 3 years, then that would make sense. But the Baroness made it seem like it's been going on for a while. But that might be the interpretation that I got. But maybe the monsters perceive time differently. Yeah, maybe Ode is older than Shisheshin. That's true. Because it would kind of make sense. Some of this could make sense if she named them. Well, maybe not. Homily makes sense to me, because it's, yeah, just an emotional type of sermon. Short, sweet, good times. Um, Epigram, sharp, witty remarks. Eh, but I think in her case they're cruel. Ode, because she's literally going to take over. Catharsis is one that really confuses me, though, because he was such an asshole. So I don't understand, because the other names I feel like they fit up pretty well. Epilogue, obviously. Um, they line up pretty well with what the characters were, but Catharsis really throws me for a loop, and I don't understand what the connection is. The process of releasing and thereby providing relief from strong or repressed emotions. Yeah, I don't know if maybe his name is Catharsis because he, like I said in the beginning when I was like kind of contemplating it, is it because his death, the whole beginning of everything started with his death. And it started the path for catharsis for Homily. Yeah, his death started let her start confronting her feelings more. Yeah, that makes sense. The first death of the family to free Homily from her abusers. That's where I was headed towards. What do you think of Ode? Because like mine was like thinking that like Ode was going to be ultimately the possible replacement for uh the monster, because she kind of rejected Homily. She was going to use catharsis at first, but now he's dead. Praise or glorifying an event or individual. Also, that's true. That she very much was attached to the Baroness. And also had a lot to say about violence and chaos. An echo of the Baroness, yeah. So maybe like an ode of the Baroness. Like ode to Baroness. That would be an awful song. Epilogue, I feel like, is a good one because it's, you know, the ending of a story. The story of the family has ended, but we're carrying it on um through this offspring and Homily becoming a parent to them and helping to raise them, and beginning a new story for Homily and her little family. Like she was bad in her treatment of everyone around her. The story after the end of the story. Yeah. Yeah, I was just curious because I was like, okay, so timing wise, some of this doesn't make sense. And then it's like, okay, so where did these kids come from? And who the fuck named them? And is the naming conventions important to the Baroness as a character? Or is it just a story element that is kind of interesting and fun to pick around with? I think it's the latter. Yeah, from what standpoint do you take their names from? From the Baroness point of view, catharsis was a way of the Baroness exerting power. Ode is the Baroness's mirror image. Yeah, I guess epigram is uh if we see it from the Baroness's point of view, epigram maybe is humorous to her. Is epigram a joke to her, maybe? Hmm. Epigram is an inscription. It's true. So, brain not want to make this word. Yes, that. But I'm like trying to think of the word that I want it to say. Oh, epigram is then an engraving. The word was engraving. Engraving was the word I wanted. Um, epigram is an engraving of the Baroness, and then homily maybe is a reminder of her sins. She was also an echo of catharsis. She wore gold like him and acted for glory. Ooh, that's true. That's true. Homily, discourse, conversation, homilius crown. But it's a short sermon that is more about um spiritual spiritual writing, spirit, like doing morality. It's like a morality based spiritual thing, and um instead of doctrinal. A religious discourse that is intended primarily for spiritual edification. Edification is a much better word than what I just said. Spiritual morality thingy than doctrinal instructions. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think that maybe homily is a reminder of their sins, because homily is very like morally good. Public explanation of a sacred doctrine or text. She stands out from the others a lot. Definitely. I don't know. I do think it's interesting to think about their names through the lens of what the how the Baroness sees them. And that's a cool idea. To instruct or improve upon a person's morally or intellectually. Did we not know what edification meant? No? Oh, you didn't. Oh, okay. That's my English major coming in. That's good. If you don't know a word, you should definitely look it up for sure. I am not shaming. I'm sorry. I was just like, did I get it wrong? Because I'm pretty sure that's what I said it was. You learned something today. Hooray! Book club was interesting. Alright, let's keep going. Because we got like one more serious one and then a fun one. And then if you guys have questions that you want to explore, we can go into those. One more. Secession grows and ultimately sacrifices her heart for love. As I said in the thing, or I believe the egg sac is a sort of a metaphor for growing a heart, and then she grows that heart as she falls in love with Homily, and then she ends up sacrificing it in the end to uh save her offspring and the people and the person she loves. um but what kinds of sacrifices do we see Homily make for the relationship? Because I think there are a bunch. Uh, exactly. She literally kills her sister and spears her mother. Um, this does feel like moments we talked about before, where I used a word and used it correctly, but someone has to ask what that word means, and I can't explain it. Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I was just like, wait, did I fuck that up? I did not. I did not. Yeah, she does. She does. And I think that she grows too, because Shisheshin and her learning humanity and bodily autonomy and like really solidifying those moral aspects of her character came from this. But Homily also grows a lot in that, and I think that the act of killing her mother, and well, not her mother, but the person she thought was her mother, and her sister, who was tainted by this thing, shows that growth in a literal cutting off. Like, talk about going no contact, man. So she gives up her family um in a way of producing a better family though. I also think that she tries so hard to once she realizes what's that Shisheshan is not human, she tries very hard to like learn how Shisheshan works because she wants to give the right way, you know? Like you have to learn somebody's love language and like when they're not human, that might be like super different than what you're used to. And just being like, "Oh, you don't eat food exactly like I do. Huh. You don't sleep." Hmm. And like trying to find ways to make Shisheshan's life comfortable. And then Shisheshan is also just like, don't do that because you're gonna give too much of yourself. Yeah, she was a reader. She was reading about monsters and had theories and stuff at the start. Yeah, she did. She definitely did. Some of them were kind of bullshit. Most of them were mostly bullshit. Like coming up with the origin of monsters and stuff. Yeah, I do remember that. Amelie is an example of how sometimes incredibly kind people survive and grow in the harshest environments. Like everything she went through damaged her, but made her morals and love so much stronger. She wants knowledge and to better understand. I like that about her. I do like that about her too. And I agree that she really rises above all of the awful that happens to her. She doesn't let the cruelty and anger that the Baroness represents taint her to become more like her siblings, where her siblings just like really got into the greed, the power, and all of that to become not very good people. And Homily walks away from that, um constantly just like being a good person, but also like still wanting good for them. She's not bitter about them. And that's why she also goes into like naming like she names her child Epilogue as a reminder of her family, which Shisheshan's not like super cool with that at first. And I do like the scenes where they're like, no, we are not naming them that name. Absolutely not. Anyway, here's Epilogue. In the next chapter. That was pretty funny. Anyway, though, she does say something about like, I want to remember them. I did love them. Like she just sees the goodness in everybody, and I like that about her too. It's something that I strive for, I guess, is that I want to be able to see the goodness in people. But oh boy, when I do that too much, it does sometimes, you know, come to make it, it turns out not great. It reminds me that empathy is the strongest thing one could have. She seeks to understand in a way to save her family, even though they were her torturers. She said that her mother sacrificed so much for them. Like, she sees the best in people even when it's not really there. Yeah, she tries to find good intentions. And I think it's because she also is like, well, I have good intentions. So obviously everybody else does too. It's a little bit naive, and maybe I'm just jaded. Maybe I'm just a little bit jaded now, to think that. But I do think that she Homilies uh Homilies love language is sacrifice. And to Shishushin, that's a problem because she's seen how that inclination to sacrifice has harmed her in the past, and she doesn't want her to go back into that type of cycle of giving way too much of herself, and isn't sure how to make sure that she protects herself at the same time. It is, but the naivete is born from not having enough knowledge of the situation. She gets behind the killing of her mother when she has the full knowledge. It's very true. But she still feels bad for it. I mean, that's just like a normal thing, though. Like, even if you have a killing that is. I don't think that most people can kill someone without feeling guilt. Even if it's the most understandable death ever, you'd still feel bad about it. Like, man, if you turned into a zombie and started attacking me, I'd have to kill you. But I'd feel guilty about it forever. And if they can, is that really a person? Exactly. Okay. We got about a half hour. So I think it's good to move into the fucking dumbest thing I have ever come up with in my entire life. Are you ready for stupid? Are you ready? Are you prepared for this to be stupid?
Better just be one word saying wood question mark.
That would have been a good one. Would? Hold on, let me read this one. I find it interesting that she falls in love with someone who eats people. That's true. True, that is true. Okay, here's the dumb. Are you prepared? Cast the main cast of Friends using the characters in the book. I told you it was dumb. And bam! I don't know. I don't know. I was up really late because I couldn't sleep, and it was really funny. Catharsis is Ross because I want him to die first. I agree with this. This is where I feel good with Ross, the villager dude. No wait, that's not Ross. I'm dumb. Ross is already his name. Catharsis. The guy with the kink. Laurent. Maybe. I argue that um Homilies is Joey. Because she's kind of silly. Okay, all right. She's a bit naive and childlike in the way that she does things. And she is ultimately just a very, very good person. And Joey is maybe the only one in this cast who is ultimately a very, very good person. Joey isn't tortured enough. He's horny. I agree. That is that. So I do think that Laurent Menech is better, but I when I was thinking about it, that was my argument, was that I don't think anybody in this cast is ultimately a very good person. That's the way that sitcoms work, though. I'll put Laurent in here, though. I guess you could say Shisheshin is Chandler. I think Shisheshin is kind of Phoebe because she can make Homily laugh. That's true. Oh, is the shape-shifting monster who eats people? Oh wait, that's just Phoebe. She doesn't really get social graces that much. She says things that she means very literally, but people find funny. She's kind of in her own little world, and she's weird. We don't really know much about her in weird ways. She's secretive. That's true. Yeah, I'm good with that. Okay, so we could put there. And there was that episode she did eat a man whole. That is true. The one where she eats the man whole, that's my favorite episode. If there was an episode where she unhinged her jaw and ate a dude, that would just be like whatever. That's what happened in the one where she eats a man whole. And everybody's just like, Monica comes in and is like, you didn't even season him. And Phoebe's like, whoops. I love that we said it at the same time. um, okay, so we have Chandler, Rachel, and Monica left. It was the same episode where Chandler was stuck in that room with that woman. Okay. All right. Yeah. The is it the bank one? In the elevator? No, okay. Hmm. I could almost see Chandler being, oh fuck. Rachel is owed. That feels right. That feels right actually. Ooh, or epigram. Epigram too. Epigram does make sense because I do think that a lot of times Rachel is cruel and she's very selfish. So that one that does make sense to me. Is there a world in which Chandler could be Homily? Because I think that he's like one of the ones who is ultimately like a every man kind of character. He's not always the most moral person, but I think that out of the bunch, he's probably the one with the most morality out of them. Chandler tries, and he's made fun of the most. That's true. I also like him the most. He tries so hard. Third nipple, lost toe. That's true. Oh, oh, oh! Monica is epigram. I argued the Baroness at one point because she hurt Chandler. Oh, if we she says we could. That would make sense. That would make sense. Because if we say Chandler is homily, which okay, can I okay, all right. What are you doing? Amelie. Okay, we put that as homily, and then it would make sense then for Rachel to be epigram. I do. I see it. I see it. The Baroness is Gunther. Okay. Epigram hurt Homily. Monica hurt Chandler. Totally makes sense. I feel it. I feel it. Okay. But then does that mean that we're good? Is Rachel owed? Is Rachel owed? She is the youngest, I think. Is it just because we want fuck, what was the name of her? What's Phoebe's twin's name? Is it like Buffy or something like that? Oh, what is her twin's name? I don't remember. Okay, but okay, Phoebe has a twin who's kind of a little bit much. Ursula. Yeah, we want Ursula to devour Rachel. Would that be good? Because technically, the offspring is sort of a copy almost, is sort of a clone, if you will, of Shisheshan. And what is a clone but, you know, a twin, an identical twin? She says? That is further proof that Phoebe is Shisheshan. I'm sorry, this was actually fun. This is stupid, but it's fun. It's stupid as hell. I'm glad we did it. Alright, so Ross is catharsis, mostly because we want to see him die. Also, he's kind of power hungry, and he's sort of a jerk about it. So, you know, I think that Phoebe should devour him. Or at least bite his face off. No one told you. Okay. Ross is catharsis. And then Rachel, epigram, because she thinks she's funny, but she kinda not. And she's just sort of a bitch, and she likes knives a lot. Well, Gunther's not in here. It was just a main cast. If anything, Gunther is more Laurent than anybody else. But I gave in. I let Laurent be. You know who Gunther is. Okay. I'm prepared. He's that surviving monster hunter. Which one? Because they both survived. Chandler's girlfriend, Janice. Malik. Well, there's Malik and there's Rourke. Both of them survived. The older one died. When did he die? Because they kept on, like, I looked for it. I thought he died, but I couldn't remember, and I looked for it later on. The Baroness killed him because he did walk in on the fort. I tried to find it. I even like looked up his name in Kindle so I could try to find it, and I couldn't. I was like, he died at some point, but I can't remember when. When I was writing notes, and I couldn't find it. Can I want that to be Gunther then instead of Malik, because Malik's kind of like not as cool. I don't think we have a Janice. Who has her voice? ooh. What about the guy who brought he's the guy who brought the what the fuck is that called? The I almost have it and then it falls away from me again. The bribe. The bribe to Shisheshan slash Siobhan at that time, um, to fuck off. There was a guy, and he like had a name and fucking everything. Janice is just the rosemary wine. And every time it poisons Shisheshan, it's just her laugh playing on a loop inside instead of pain. I'm sorry, that is. There's a difference? There's a difference between that and pain? Reese Witherspoon is played. Reese Witherspoon plays Rachel's sister. She's Ode, and Rachel is the Baroness because everything happens because she came back. Okay, hold on. I'm thinking this through. Hmm. Okay. I could see it. Yeah, she starts because she had entered the friend group after having run away. Yeah, in the wedding dress. I remember that. Okay, I kind of see it. And the book starts because the Baroness is coming to town. That's true. That is true. I do like it. I do like because I like Ode, but I also think that like Ode is such an undeveloped whatever. You were on a break. Phoebe bites off Ross's hand out of her chest. Mouth. Yum. Delicious. Okay, no, I like this. I also want the Baroness to be in here. The 2 Rosses? No, I think it's only one. Yeah. Okay. Baroness. Man, that ended up being more fun than I thought it was gonna be. Okay. I'm glad I added it in. I'm glad I added it in because it is really stupid. But yeah. That's what I had planned out. Totally would write Smelly Cat. Smelly bear, smelly bear. What are they feeding you? Smelly bear, why are you blue? I guess Blueberry could be Gunther. Why was the bear blue? That is a very good question. I have no idea. We were making jokes about it. We were talking about how, if we did, oh, sorry, weird things happen to my music. But it had to put in a highbrow literary question in there, and there's that joke about why is the curtains blue? Why is the bear blue? But then I actually wonder, why was the bear blue? I'm sure there's actually a reason, and I just don't know. The Species is special. They talked about it with the nobility. It was native to one of the kingdoms, but had been hunted into extinction. I'm for once I care about authorial intent here, because like yes, in the world it makes sense that there's a blue bear, but I'm kind of wondering if there's some sort of reference to mythology or to something that I just don't know. Maybe there's like a maybe they really really like fucking Care Bears and they're just like Grumpy Bear's my guy. Maybe they had a dog or a cat named Blueberry and they were like, how am I gonna put this in here? I know, we'll put a blue bear in there. Like a blue, what are they called, the blue shepherds? There's a dog that is a blue something, the blue Australian shepherds, I think. You know, there's that could be it. I don't know, I kind of care about it. I think there's like a reference here and I want to know what the reference is. It makes me happy. But yeah, that's all I have. That's all I prepared. I think it was fun. Did you guys have fun? It was fun. That was good. I know you guys liked reading the book too, because it's a good book. It was a really good book. It was a fun one that I enjoyed. Um, we. Oh, is there a cat happening or something? Glitch can't reach their keyboard. That's good. I wanted to give you guys time if there were like questions that you wanted to pose to everybody that we could discuss. We can definitely do that still. I know that we're getting close to like when I would wrap up a little bit, but we can still talk a little bit more about that kind of stuff. If you would like. Also, if not, if you don't have any questions and we're done, we're done. That's also good. Um, I'm good now. She got angry. So the cat. Okay. Yeah, I figured we could let the ads run and you can like form some questions in that time. I'm gonna go on a little break to go pee. But then I'd also like you to think about what our next book club book should be, because I'd like for us to like at least narrow down at least a vibe for it. Um so if we can, I mean, I know you need to go to sleep, so we can move on to that section and we can always, it's just you guys and me right now. Nobody else apparently was here. Um we can just talk about it later. I would like it to be horror themed because that's what I prefer to read, but um we should at least narrow down a vibe of what we're kind of looking for, and I can look through it. Yeah, but people are lurking people. If you want to like join in here and tell us a book that you would prefer, you can also do that. But we're gonna let ads run. I'm gonna go be right back because I have to go pee, and you guys do that. But I'll be right back. I won't be that long. But yeah, think about it. Say some stuff in the chat, and I'll look at it when I come back. I'm still here. Just think of a vibe a vibe, mystery, you know, gay, whatever. Think of a vibe. Okay. I'm gonna go here. Okay. Sorry about that. Um, looking at Audible, what books we choose from. Horror, okay, but that's like everything. I like gay. I was thinking, should we keep it gay? At least there should be like a little bit of gay happening. Like that's kind of like the vibe of the book club is that it's a little gay. And should it be something that Callie has read? I do think it's kind of nice if I've read it before because then that gives me time to work on it. But since I want to do these like 2 months out, so we wouldn't do this until sometime in March. Um, there's probably time for it to be something that I haven't read before. But I can get something that has cosmic horror, is gay, is a little bit sweet. It wasn't gay, but same vibes as this book. I'd like something a little bit maybe different. It is a young adult book though, the one that I was thinking of. So that might be something we don't want to do. Um it just came to mind because it was Eldritch. It was cosmic horror. I thought was kind of interesting. There's a lot of pretty interesting young adult cosmic horror stuff out there. Not all of them are kind of gay, though. And like I could do something. I could like work within the confines of gay cosmic horror. There's a book called Red X, but I apparently can't. Yeah, Red X. I've heard of it. It's not something that's easy to find. Leech by Hiram Inez. I just never finished it, and I wanted an excuse to reread it again and finish it. Okay, hold on. Oh, okay. I've seen this around. A surreal and horrifying debut, Hiram Inez's Leash defies our understanding of identity, hereditary, and bodily autonomy. Meet the cure for the human disease. In an isolated chateau as far north as north gets, the Baron's doctor has died. The doctor's replacement has a mystery to solve, discovering how the Institute lost track of one of its many bodies. For hundreds of years, the Interprovincial Medical Institution or Medical Institute has grown by taking root in young minds and shaping them into doctors, replacing every human practitioner of medicine. Oh. The Institute is here to help humanity, to cure and to cut, to cradle and to protect. I don't like this, but like in a good way. That's not great. The species from apocalyptic horrors, their ancestors unleashed. In the frozen North Institute's body, we'll discover a competitor for its rung at the top of the evolutionary ladder. A parasite is spreading through the Baron's castle, already a dark pit of secrets, lies, violence, and fear. The two will make war, and the battlefield of the body, whichever wins, humanity will lose again. Okay. I mean, that's a little sad. Let's see, tags. This one actually does have a gay tag on it. It's not it probably is not a happy ending book. It's not necessarily that we need a happy ending book. I only picked this one because I thought you guys would like warm fuzzy gay feelings just in time, like, Valentine's Day is less than a month away. I don't know, it has the LGBTQIA plus tag on it. Now, I mean, like, gender feelings are also valid. That works. I don't mind this one. This seems interesting. You can request books though. You can request books. Also, you live in the city, so you can get their physical books. Hold on. They have the audiobook on Hoopla. Let me see. Yeah, they just have the audiobook right now. You can request the ebook though. You just have to go into the library um main thingy, the library website, and then log in and go into your portal, and then you can add in a request. This was published in 2022, so it would fit the criteria. They just don't want things that are for, like, I think they want things to be less than 10 years old for requests, which kind of sucks sometimes. Like, can't you want to read an old book? Apparently not. But yeah, you can put in requests, and they usually will get them. They juggle the catalog enough to do it, but it does have the audiobook in Hoopla. It's on my list, The Botanical Daughter. That one I keep on almost picking it up and then finding something that looks more interesting. Okay, we can put this on the list for like an idea. I'm gonna put it in my EBR. List so that I know it's there. I do like the concept of this one though. It seems interesting. I like it. Like, yeah, it's not gonna have a happy ending. Yeah, you can get it. I can get it. We can all get it. We have our ways. We have some other ways too, but we're not going to talk about those on Twitch. But you know, uh, we we have means. If there is a will, there is a way. Okay. No, I'm good with this one. I like this one. Let's do this. It sounds interesting. It's interesting enough that I want to pick it up, so I'm gonna get it. But I wasn't sure if I loved it or hated it. It's very gay. Okay, I will read it then next. Unless you want to do that one instead of this one. That one I know is more accessible on Libby. Mexican Gothic, which we liked, meets the Lie Tree, which I have not. Oh, by way of Oscar Wilde and Mary Shelley. Ooh. It's a delightfully witty horror debut. A captivating tale of two Victorian gentlemen hiding their relationships away. It is very gay. In a botanical garden, who embark on a Frankenstein style experiment with unexpected consequences. Oh no, that sounds fun too. Yeah, I keep almost picking it up and then I don't. I want to read this. That sucks. What would you prefer? Something that is going to definitely be sad in the end, or something that is Frankenstein-esque and gay? Something that is gay Frankenstein. But I was like, is this fanfic? Oh. See, maybe we should pick things that I've already read. Maybe I read these ones pretty quickly and then we'll pick it at a later time. Like I pick these ones up next. Maybe that's a better idea, because then like if I read through it and I go, oh, I really like this, then it will be I'll know it's a good choice for us. Let me get the digital one and throw it into read. Yeah, I think that might be a better idea. I had picked a book for my next one because it just seemed interesting. And I was really in the mood for something sort of supernatural. You know how I go. I love supernatural horror. And I'm still waiting for How to Survive a Horror Story. Let me see. Melmoth by Sarah Perry was what I was looking at. In a gothic stunner, a ghost roams through history in a scary novel. Quote, a scary novel that chills to the bone, even as it points to a warmer, more humane place, unquote, from the New York Times Book Review. From the internationally best-selling author of The Essex Serpent, now an Apple TV Plus series. Who cares? Who cares? Who cares? Who cares? It has been years since Helen Franklin left England. In Prague, working as a translator, she has found sanctuary. That changes when her friend Carol discovers a mysterious letter that speaks of Melmoth, the witness, who hunts her prey through the ages, dooming those she captures to timeless solitude. To Helen, it seems the stuff of unenlightened fantasy, but then Carol disappears. Spanning continents and centuries, Sarah Perry's breathtaking novel is a masterpiece of suspense as well as a profound investigation of the eternal nature of love and compassion. I don't know, it sounded like fun. That's what I was gonna read next, but I could probably get the Botanical Daughter right now. I think it was available. Okay, but yeah, this is good. These are some good choices to begin with. Or a botanical garden. Botanical daughter. Yeah, they don't have the ebook for this one, but that's okay. I can make do. I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna make it work. All right, I'm making it work. I'm gonna read that. I'm gonna read the other one. I'll get back to you in the Discord. Other thing I was thinking, maybe we'd make a book club on Saturday, because I'm wondering if there's people who wanted to join book club, but because it's Monday, they couldn't. Possibly a good idea. Okay, all right. I just wanted to check. I was just thinking that while we were going, and I was like, oh, nobody's coming. And there were people who were excited about the concept of it, but you know. Okay, I will then. I'm gonna read these books. I will get back to you on my choice of which one I think fits better for the vibe of what I would prefer to work on. And then I'm gonna let you glitch know personally, and we'll get that all started. We'll get it started. What was the next thing? And then we'll switch to doing these on a Saturday instead. Saturday. It's spooky. That's why we should stick with horror, so it can be spooky Saturday instead of super cozy time. And then I don't have to be so stressed on a cozy Monday. This whole time we could have played Animal Crossing, you know? We could have just played Animal Crossing. Okay, I feel good. I feel like we did good work today. I gotta find somebody to raid. That's an important part of this. Ugh. Who's online? I don't know. Isn't it a holiday over there? I think I heard some people saying it was. There's a lot of people are like really sick right now too. I know Fort came in and said that he wasn't doing well. Yeah, okay. Martin Luther King Jr. Day. I'm glad they gave you a day, man. It would have been really cool if they didn't fucking murder you. That would have been super fun. I'm doing a really good job of finding people, aren't I? Maybe we look in. I can't find this. I can't. Oh, okay, writing, writing, and reading. That's what we're in right now. We got people writing. We got people writing. We got people who are just writing. Nobody's doing anything that fun. I'm apparently the only one having fun right now. It's just me. Everybody else is doing dumb things, it looks like. Okay, they're not doing dumb things. It's just mostly like co-working stuff. I wish that I wish that the writers who were doing like co-working type stuff would go into co-working, and this was like more about discussion. But I get that that's wow, that one person I was going to have you raid isn't on. Unhelpful. Rude, honestly. Man, I don't know what to pick. I hate this. This is their day to stream. Maybe they are off because of a thing. Hold on a minute. I think I found somebody. There's somebody who I haven't actually been in their chat yet. But I don't know. They've joined they raided Bobby, and they're a worm, and I don't know, it's so cute and funny. So I don't know, maybe we just raid them because they only have like 2 viewers. I don't know, I don't know, they were very nice in the chat, so maybe that's the play. Maybe that's the play. We'll go be friends. I don't have that many people here, but yeah. I'm giving them a second so that the ads can play. Cuz they have their Oh, now they have 4. Now they have 4 viewers. Wow. Me just popping in helped. Well, they're about to get whatever my viewer count is, which I do not think is very high. But that's okay. I don't have it open to look. Holy crap, how many more ads are there? Crap, it's like a minute. It's a long pre-roll. Holy shit. Maybe I ended up popping in like when their like regular ads were going, so it's not just a pre-roll. I guess it works. Sometimes I think about putting pre-rolls on for like things like this. Thank you. I'm trying to find somebody to raid right now. We're about to log off for the day. Because I am sleepy. I didn't get much sleep last night. And I have to do some shit. I'm waiting for these ads to end so that I can throw in the raid on their side. Holy shit, it's replaying the same ad that I already had. I've had this ad already. I don't know what it's saying because it's in French. Oh, it's a car ad. Okay. I should listen to the French and then maybe I would understand it, but I have to pay attention to French, you know? I'm good at it, like reading it. I can just read it and that's good, but like I have to pay attention, you know? Okay. All right. Now Twitch wants me to get Turbo. I will not be doing that. Okay. I'm just seeing what they're doing. Oh, okay. They're playing Super Mario Party Jamboree. They have a nice sounding voice. They are a cute, like an adorable fucking worm. Okay. No, that's fine. Let's just go say hi. This seems good. Okay. I'm putting in the raid. Is it a worm? Yes. All 4 of my viewers, 4, 5 of my, 8 of my viewers, 9 of my viewers. I love you guys. Okay. But yes, I love you. Thursday is anime music part 2. I'm looking forward to it. I hope to see you guys there. Thanks for hanging out for our first book club. We'll be doing this later. We'll change it over to Saturdays. It'll be fun time. This Saturday, we are changing up our game. I don't know what's going to be, but right now, probably Killer Instinct, if I'm being honest. But I'll let you know then. Okay. I hope you have a really good rest of your Monday. Let's go be nice to this worm person. They seem nice. And I'll see you guys later. Love you. Bye. Bye. Yeah, killer frequency. That's what I meant. Not instinct. Whatever. I'm tired. Okay. Bye.